Hello, everybody. My name is Ulfgarður, and welcome back to Yvardsaga. It's been a little longer of a break than usual. Sorry for the delay between sessions. Um, we had one party member that had a wedding in their family last week, and so they spent all week kind of prepping for that. Um, and then this week we had somebody not available on Wednesday or Thursday, so we're doing it tonight on Friday. And a little bit later than scheduled, but I I have attempted to make it up to y'all with a couple fun new things, um, particularly for things you guys in chat can do to interact with the game. Um, I haven't seen Combat Carl in chat yet, but he has asked multiple times, which I appreciate, being the forgetful man that I am. Uh, Thank you, Carl, for keeping me thinking about it and on top of it. I finally got it done. Um, we have new channel point redeems for you that are more suitable for us playing D&D on stream lately instead of the stuff that was more geared toward when we were doing Let's Plays of video games, which I still intend to get back to and hopefully fairly soon. The main thing is I just don't know what game I should come back with, you know? I just can't make up my mind on it. That's like I think the primary hang up anymore. So I'm trying to get over myself and just pick one. Um, but there are new channel point redeems. Um, Unfortunately, it meant that some of the things even that could be potentially still usable for a D&D stream had to be deactivated in order to make room for the new ones because there's only so much I can have active at a time. But I wanted to review those things with you, so even if you're watching this as a VOD, you can know what your new capabilities are and start planning accordingly. Um, Particularly, y'all can do a few fun things. There are ways you can affect the mechanics of the game, like mostly like the dice rolling, or there are non-mechanical ways you can affect things too. So mechanical ways, if you know D&D 5th edition, most of these are going to be pretty quick for you to understand, but I want to attempt as briefly as I can as the ADHD storyteller that I am, uh, to go into a little bit of detail so that you guys understand, if you don't know D&D 5th edition, what you're able to do. So first up, you guys in chat can spend your pounds of silver to either cast Bless on a PC or cast Bane on me, the DM. So those are essentially the same spell, which are actual spells in 5th edition, so you guys have access to a few of those now. Um, where Bless is a benefit and Bane is a detriment, much like it sounds. So with using Bless as chat, when you redeem that, there will be a little text section for you to enter in who you want that to affect. Their names will be on the screen. Particularly, I know Ayejaye is harder to remember how to spell. It's okay if you don't get it perfect as long as I understand who you're talking about. Um, but what happens then, and the instructions are in the chat redeem description too, is you type in who you want that to affect, and then after you redeem that point, just regular in chat, put in an exclamation point command to roll a die. And all you have to type is exclamation point ROLLD 4, the number 4, not spelled out. So exclamation point roll d4, and it will generate a number 1 through 4. And what happens is whoever you target with that will have a they will have a plus whatever number rolls out to their next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. And so I know the timing with stream delay and like noticing it happen in chat, it might mean that your redeem doesn't apply to the specific situation you wanted it to because we may have already moved on, but it's still going to be a benefit the next time that they try to do anything with the die, as long as it's one of those three types of rolls. Um, and pretty much all of these things have a cooldown time, so you guys can't just be spamming it. And it also has limits on how many times overall it can be used in a session, and how many times each person can use it per session. So you should be able to see that in the summary of the thing. And yeah, uh, but back on task, Bane, you target me, the DM, and that's the same thing with the same type in that roll d4 command, but instead that affects me by inflicting a minus whatever number you roll to my next whatever one of those things I try to do. Uh, so you can try and help the players by using that instead. Like maybe Bless is still on cooldown because somebody used it too recently. You can still help by using Bane and making their enemies have a harder time making their rolls. And then stepping up from there for more channel points, but bigger benefit, you can grant advantage to players, which means when they make a roll using the d20 for pretty much anything, uh, they get to roll two d20s and take whichever result is better. Uh, it's statistically just the way the hidden numbers of D&D work. That's generally considered adding +4 to whatever roll they roll with advantage. That's just how like the averages and stuff work. But it's essentially guaranteeing the best result of using the bless. Um, but it's specifically you're giving inspiration, which is something you've probably heard me mention in previous videos that I give to people. Normally, a character can only have one inspiration in their back pocket, which just means you can apply advantage to a roll before you roll it. You just have to state, I'm going to roll it and use my inspiration. Um, and then once it's gone, they wait until I give it back to them. And that's normal. They can still only have one if I give it to them. But if you guys give them one, I will let them stack as long as they use the one you guys give them in the session. So at some point, when you decide to inspire a player character, uh, you you are unless it just gets overlooked and forgotten about, you should be able to see them use the benefit of your silver that you spent to give them that within the same gameplay. And on the flip side, much like Bless and Bane, you can give player characters advantage, or you can give me, the DM, disadvantage, which so you uninspire me essentially. Um, that's still a thing I am going to get to choose when it applies. Well, I'm going to try and use it as quickly as I can. So not be like, okay, I'm going to save this for later because that's a different thing. Um, but specifically, well, no, it's not. So I will try and use it quickly, but I can't promise I'll use it right away. But I will try and make good use of it. That's the reason I wouldn't probably use it right away if I don't. Um, And then from there, a similar sort of thing, but you can give inspiration like you do to the players, but you can give me inspiration as the DM in two different ways. There's two different rewards to do this. There's inspire an NPC ally. So, like Ron, you could choose specifically Ron, and that's a different cooldown period than inspiring Nemo. Um, or there's also inspire enemies, because I know sometimes y'all are ornery and you want to try and throw a wrench into things. I'm trying to give you a way to do that that isn't going to be entirely game breaking or like busting the immersion for the players or y'all, the audience. But so you can give me inspiration specifically to apply to an enemy to try and make the PC's lives a little harder, if you're feeling so inclined. But again, that one I can apply as I see fit, and I will try and use it in the way that is most interesting. Um, so that's my goal there. And then the last thing you can do mechanically for a character is you can give them temporary HP. I believe I have it set right now to 6. Temporary HP in 5th edition is not healing. It is as long as they don't go into a resting state, it's essentially just a buffer. It soaks up the damage without affecting their health, but it does not stack. So if somebody has 4 temp HP and then from you guys in chat or from a spell or whatever, they receive 6, they don't get 10. Whatever the the bigger number is what they get. So they would only get 6 that you gave them instead of jumping to 10. And it caps out at, I want to say, 12 or 15 because that's how 5e works. Um, but it can last a long time. It's still, especially at lower levels like we are now, it's a very nice bit of breathing room to help them just make it to their next ability to heal. And you guys can do that. You just type in, as part of redeeming the reward, who you want to be the recipient, and bada bing bada boom, they got a little magic support from the great beyond as they take their next source of damage or two. But a couple other things that y'all are able to do. Um, you can, as long as it's even remotely feasible, you can essentially summon a raven in the world that I'm going to work off the assumption it was there all along. We just didn't notice it. Uh, but the players will become aware of it because it will speak to them. Because in D&D 5e, ravens can mimic human speech. So when you redeem this, you type in up to 3 words. I ask they not be anything ridiculous or definitely not offensive. If it's safe to be in chat, then that's probably fine. But like we try and do a lot with immersion and maintaining the attitude. So if you can, please at least attempt to keep it vaguely that. Please don't say like my car's broken down because that's not going to make any sense in a fantasy world that doesn't have automotive vehicles. Um, but like you could remind people of a joke from a previous session. You could attempt to provide a clue to a puzzle. You could just say hello. It's a 3-word limit, so you could let your favorite character know you love them. Uh, and they will canonically encounter a bird quoting those words in the game. Whether or not they do anything with it or just be confused, we'll have to see what happens. Um, Another one of these non necessarily mechanical things, for a bigger points cost, I believe it's the biggest one we have, and it's limited to happen twice at all per session. But you can change the weather around them. Like they're underground right now, so that's not going to be feasible. Um, but like as long as it's fairly realistic, so like no making it snow in the middle of summer, because nowhere in the world does that these characters will be. Um, but like you could make it change and start raining or make the rain stop unless it's something extremely specific that I need for story reasons, which is not often. Most of the time you're good. Um, but I feel like that'll be a fun way to really change the dynamic and the environment in which they make their decisions. So that's something you guys have the power to do now. And lastly, you can cast Thaumaturgy, which is the lowest level of spell in D&D, but it lets you create just like a sensory effect, like sight, sound, smell, somewhere in the area that is harmless but noticeable. So you could not necessarily not like type in words specifically. I didn't activate it to be able to do that. Well, I did, but more I want it for a description. But like you can make the throne room in the palace with this potentially smell like horse manure. Or if they're walking through the streets of a city, you could maybe make it sound like up around the corner block a window shatters and they might want to go investigate that. And then I have to try and figure out what they find or don't find. Um, but it won't be a broken window because you did that effect with magic. So I'm going to try and roll with it if the party expresses an interest. So you guys can kind of challenge and shift things with that. But ultimately, it's harmless stuff in and of itself. But I want to see what you guys come up with. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Um, so those are the channel point redeems. We made it. We're almost done. I'm not going to go through and show all of these individually, But we have new emotes. Our very own Radio Devil was really excited to make emotes for you guys. There are ones that are for any follower of the channel. They are free, um, and they are essentially raven based. I like ravens, and they are uh, a recurring sort of thing and symbol in the book I'm writing about Evard. So that was kind of the way to sort of represent chat, since you have a reward that lets you speak words, um, to still kind of like convey that you guys are watching them do their thing like a random bird in the background. Um, so they're very fun. Red did a great job. If you are a sub at tier 1 or higher, you get emotes that are of our different characters. Ayejiye, Nemo, Cole, and even Ron has a few that you can choose, and they're all very, very good. I highly suggest you check them out when you can. Rad did a great job, and I'm really excited about them. So I want to see them get used. Find them, use them. That's the ball's in your court with that, but I think you'll want to once you get to see them. That said, I've talked enough about all of this. Let's finally get to our game, huh? The party is in a room full of a hidden room full of deactivated teleportation portals. They're pretty sure that's what they are. Nemo found a book on the subject of teleportation portals that she's referenced, um, and learned maybe one or two helpful things. But it's like it, it's a high lofty specialist's book about theory, so essentially like quantum mechanic theory. So she can only understand so much of it. But still, it gave some insights, and the only thing they know about all these deactivated portals is there's another one of these written clues, like they found with all these heavy locked metal doors that had some sort of trick to opening them. Uh, because the first one to get into the room where they found the artifact they were looking for before Shoko stole it, the first prompt there was give of yourself, and there was a giant metal spike in a bowl. It was implied to it was implied to injure yourself in some way. At least that's what the party seemed to take it to be. They found a different way to get it open, which was spectacular. Go back and watch the VOD on YouTube for that. That's a couple sessions back, but it was really good. Um, and then, in order to find this portal room, they had to figure out another one of those, which instead of give of yourself, it said give of others. And what they had to do was go find a preserved heart from the embalming studio and put it in a bowl next to the door, and the door opened. So now they have this prompt saying give of him, and they don't entirely know what to do with that. So let's see if they have any theories or thoughts, or if they just decide to walk away. That's entirely possible in my game. So, without further ado, let's play some D&D. Hello, friends. Hello. Howdy, howdy. Okay. Chat should be able to hear you now. Thank you for your patience while I break down all the things chat can do to mess with us now. Um, so, to recap, I'm not sure that you guys need much of a recap because I know you've got a pretty good sense of where we left off, but you're in a room that has a bunch of what you seemed fairly confident in assuming are deactivated teleportation portals. There's one of them on this big stone platform on like the south of the map, the bottom of the room. There are two against that far wall. There's another one on the top north wall of the room, and those are all identical stone rings with these little cones carved into the stone at the top. Um, but then down here behind a Yejiye, there's also looks like it very well could be a portal made out of wood instead of stone. And then there's this well up above Nemo and Cole right here that's just kind of there. And then, as a reminder, this open coffin looking thing on the floor, this is here because I forgot to put one here when I was making this map. So I had to use a Roll20 asset, unless I went back and undid a whole lot of stuff getting it into Roll20. Um, but this is just to represent it's the same metal body case that you've seen in many of the other rooms. It is not different in any notable way, at least so far as you guys can tell. That's just the closest asset I had to get the idea across, courtesy of the free stuff available on Roll20. So, you guys found your way in here after getting a little bit of assistance from Cole's mystery book with the tongue pinned on the front about how to open the door with the draconic creature's skull cast into it, which is this door back here next to Ron. And on getting in here, Nemo referenced a book she found elsewhere about portals and teleportation and like pocket dimensions. It was largely unintelligible just because it's like a highfalutin academic text. You, Joe Schmo is not going to be able to pick up a quantum mechanics book and make a lot of technical sense out of it. Um, but nonetheless, Nemo did learn a few things. I don't remember if it was stated during this summary last time, or if I did state it in a very lengthy and wordy way that made it hard to realize that's what I was trying to say. But these cones at the top that are carved into the stone seem like they are where you put the sigils used in a standard teleportation circle, which is a high level regular spell you learn as an advanced mage, that make it a permanent spot for teleportation. And these cones do have carvings on them that look like they very well could be some sort of arcane sigil or marking sequence. Um, but one of the thing I might have forgotten to mention for you, Nemo, is the presence of these things in the book is kind of implied if you're reading it right that they're probably stable as a two-way portal. Because with teleportation circles, as long as the circle is intact, that circle, if the thing is active, is is pretty much permanently on until it's turned off. But that doesn't always mean wherever you're teleporting to has a return door. But if you read it right, these stone ones with the cones, it's not guaranteed, but it's probably more likely than not, or at least more likely than usual, that there is a stable portal on the other side also. So, food for thought. Um, so you have all of that, and your only clue in here to figuring anything about these portals out, or whatever other mystery this room might hold, is another one of those cryptic give of notes that's just laying on the floor that says give of him. So, you've had a week and a half since our last session. Y'all have any ideas you want to try? Questions you want to ask? Do you just want to say above my pay grade and nope out? All of these are options. The floor
I
is yours.
definitely thought about it and solved it, but I'm gonna let the others have a chance first.
Pe-
She says like a liar.
I was going to say,
That's so
Pez, that
brave
sounds
of you,
like you as
Pez.
a player need to make a deception check.
Yeah,
Pretty
I
sure.
got. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I got a handful of things I'd like to look into and investigate. Rad or Pez, do you have things you'd like to do first before I start on my list?
Ulf, it seems like the the quote unquote broken portal that he has you guys standing next to used to have a. There's like a pillar here.
Yes, that
Does it look
is
like it used to be an arch
no,
that the others have? Okay.
no. That's just an architectural feature of the room. Like there's one between you
Okay.
and Ron.
Yeah,
Those
like
two
there's one over
portals.
here. I just wasn't sure. Mostly I was going to be like, did this one ever have a hat?
um, I suppose if you would want, you could make an investigation check to try and find signs that it did, or maybe some sort of suspected equivalent, but at pure face value, it does not have anything that looks like it would have.
Okay. While Cole does his thing, I might go up on the stairs, and if I'm tall enough to sort of peek onto the top, I'll peek onto the top. But Cole, go ahead.
Um, the first thing I'd like to do is investigate the well and the lantern.
Okay.
Um, so like for this lantern, you said it's a green lantern, but no light.
Correct.
Um, so I want to take a detailed look at that.
Okay. So this whole well is very stylized. Like this is much like the doors, which were definitely made out of a different kind of metal, but much like those, it looks like almost all of this well, the framework, like the walls around the basin, the arch that holds the lantern, pretty much except the place where the lantern attaches to that arch overhead, it looks like this was cast in one piece. So how they got that in here would be very much a mystery that nobody would probably care to solve, but it would stand out as a point of like incongruity. The lantern, despite what the asset shows, that's just the asset I had to make the map. The lantern is not lit, but you can see that if it were, the glass or crystal, maybe whatever that light permeating surface is of the lantern would come out green light. And there's also none of that green misty fog down in the bottom. The asset just that's what it had. It is just a drop and a well shaft down. Is there anything
Hmm.
more particular about it you would like to know?
Yes. Um, for the lantern itself, is there like a door on it or a window or any way to get inside it, or is it just a green box?
It's essentially just a green box. Um, there is a essentially kind of like an S-shaped, like thick. I'd say probably even more thick than saying thick wire, but like an S-shaped piece of thick metal that's used to suspend it from a loop in the frame. Um, but that seems like the only movable, adjustable piece on it. Walking around, reaching over and like tapping it and trying to manipulate it or feel it at all, you don't see anything very obvious, or even if you were trying to look for something not obvious, uh, there's it doesn't seem like it's conventionally openable or activating through just opening up and turning something on or lighting something up. And you can't actually see in any detail what is inside of it, whether it would be like a candle or some sort of glowing gem. Like what would power the light if it were on, even though it's off, you still can't make any detail of.
Yep. And for the unit it's connected to, is there like a hand crank to descend and ascend this lantern?
There is not. It
Ah,
hangs in a fixed position. There's no sort of suspension
oh,
ascension device. There's no rope, no bucket, no chain. It's
oh, okay.
it looks like a well, but honestly, it seems like it might just be a really well decorated pit.
Every home needs to have one.
You already
Sure,
found
they do
their.
have.
You already found the place's lesser pit. It wasn't very
Yeah.
fancy decorated.
And we didn't ask anything about the pit from the person who went down it.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Conversation went a different way. Um, about the only thing I believe she said when any of you were vaguely nearby when she at least first went down was she confirmed there were a lot of bones. Any other question regarding the well?
um. Imagine I'll get yelled at if I just shoot a fireball down
Mm-mm.
I won't stop you.
it. Yeah.
I would not be the one to do that.
Well, I'm very well aware. We'll hold off on that for now.
Okay.
When all else fails, throw a fireball or a firebolt.
Exactly.
If you don't take fireball at some point, I'm gonna be really disappointed in you. For as many times as we've mistaken instead of fireball instead of firebolt.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Do I seem like the kind of person who would take fireball? You seem to be having a little trouble breathing.
I think
Still recovering.
I think the trouble is more trying to suppress the indignant response. Indignant might not be the right word. It's the best I got right now, though.
Gotcha. Well, I've investigated that for a second. So I want to come up here and look at this raised platform and the portal upon it.
Okay. I'm gonna pause you there just to check in with the other two.
Yep.
Nemo, anything in particular you wanted to investigate, casually peruse, uh, sneakily attempt to perform, or not so sneakily attempt while the others are not looking?
She cannot do the little trick for the rest of the day.
Fair.
Um, she's very quickly losing her interest in this place.
Understandable.
But she could just go through a portal for funsies.
What? I don't know about that, cat. But yeah, Nemo's just gonna find like a little spot to sit down. Maybe attempt to read the book and try to comprehend more, but again, she's not super she's not a wizard. That's not her specialty.
Fair. Uh, read into this question as little or as lot as you would like, but where would you sit to do your
Oh.
reading?
Down in the hole.
No. Uh, you know what? She's no, please. Um, how big is this like raised area? Like enough to support it back, or
It's enough you could walk up it like a tall stair, but you could also sit on one of them and lean back and have at least like a little bit of physical support for your lower back. You couldn't recline without like laying down horizontally, but you could sit on it and not be super discomforted.
yeah, she's gonna sit on the steps. wait for them to finish fucking around.
Fair enough. We'll see who finds out first then. A Yejiye.
Yeah, that me.
Yeah. You're peeking at the top of the wood thing.
Yeah, it's just so different from the other ones that I'm concerned about it.
Fair.
I'm afraid it might be upset that it's been singled out.
Please make an investigation check.
Meh. That's the wrong one. It's okay, it didn't roll.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
There we go. Meh. About that.
Hmm. You don't see anything that would indicate to you that it had some sort of suspected anchor piece, like those cones, that was removed. It looks pretty
Okay.
naturally smooth up at the top. Granted, you do know of magics that can make things naturally smooth after something is removed, but
Yeah, and it's possible that this one never got finished, is the other flip side to this.
fair point. Very possible indeed. Okay, anything else a Yejiye would want to be looking at or working on before I continue Cole's angle?
I'll stare at this one over here, not really doing anything with it, just going for vibes,
Fair enough.
staring into the abyss.
Fair enough. I'm
Waiting
sure.
for something to blink back.
Yeah. Are you sure that's the phrasing you want to use when you're talking about teleportation portals?
I already have one character there. What's another one?
Fair enough.
Wait, what?
Almost two,
I'm
actually.
sorry.
Sounds like a
I'm
personal
sorry.
problem.
Still stuck another pattern.
um, which, just in case you guys did not remember, but also for the sake of audience watching the session, despite what the map shows with these portals, how they have these different effects, like one looks like it's got fire and green smoke, blue mist, whatever. There is none of that in any of these. That's just what I had to work with. Um, so they are empty, hollow, do not give off any impression that you could step through it and find anything but the wall behind.
Oh yeah,
Like my soul.
the hats with their rune carvings. Are there runes based off of any language that Ayeshiei knows?
No, but a lot of arcane sigils aren't necessarily based on a script. They're more based on uh, understood random shapes or combinations of shapes that, for whatever reason, that particular symbol can have magic infused into it in a way that locks in or just shortly preserves, either way, the effect you want to produce. So there aren't any like single one types of magic sigil set in the world. But these would be ones that don't ring any bells to you for any that you might have
Okay.
seen as part of your professional experience and training.
Yeah, and he just knows there's like giant magic and stuff
Yes,
like that. So.
and it wouldn't look uh, like giant runes or dwarvish runes that are used to infuse magic in any way other than they have a similar vibe in just sort of the
Okay.
way they're laid out, but the specifics don't look like they're any kind of similar.
That's all.
Okay, Cole, sniff
All
snorfin
right.
up on the tall thing.
Yeah. Just trying to figure out why this one is elevated compared to the rest. See if there's something different.
Fair.
So would you like an investigation check?
Yes, please. Sorry, I'm referencing my notes to make sure I'm not forgetting anything that you would or would not see. But yes, please go ahead and make an investigation check.
Oh, wow, that was cool. Getting the low numbers out of the way.
Excellent.
You just wanted to be like me.
Oh yeah, always so jealous.
There's really only one thing that you notice about this portal, and that's that for whatever reason, whether it matters or not, it seems like it might be backwards. Because the sigil cones at the top, if they're up against the wall, are all facing inward towards the room. But for some reason, this one has the cone facing back towards the wall, like away
It's for
from you
inbound
as you
traffic.
step up.
That one's for inbound traffic.
Oh.
That's the
Am I able
public
to
transit portal.
exactly? Am I able to circle around to the back side of it?
Yes, you can.
Do 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 do.
And there is nothing particularly different about it. Yeah, no, there's nothing else that jumps out to you except for whatever reason it looks like it might have been put on backwards.
Oh. Interesting. Very interesting. Um. Oh, one last thing. Is just because Cole's gonna just kind of put his hand on the stonework, just kind of see if he can feel anything.
So you see how the platform's design is these concentric rings around that more artful floral design in the middle?
Uh-huh.
Those concentric rings, you realize, if you put your hand to them, they alternate. So that because there's four of them, so they alternate. One being just slightly warm to the touch, barely enough to notice, but enough to register. But not like, like there's something super hot underneath heating it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you go to the next one further out, and it's the same thing, but instead of being just barely noticeably hot, it's the opposite. It's just barely chilly. Not even chilly, but it's cool. Even cooler than the rest of the damp stones down here in the Everdark that you've interacted with in these ruins. It feels, instead of like damp, muggy, heavy sort of coolness from being underground, it feels crisp. As if something was left outside in the frost, and the frost has melted off of it or been cleaned off, but the temperature is still the same. Like just barely so. But then you go out to the next one and it's that warmth again.
Huh.
And I think with your familiarity with the magics that you know, in order to create that distinct and controlled an effect in so tight a setup as concentric rings that each feel different, like it would make sense to you that there is something advanced, magical, or mundane going on to cause that effect, because anything that is like just heat transfer, it wouldn't make sense to have something so distinctly capable of doing it, even if it's mundane built into the platform, unless it's magic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that it is, but that would probably be the most likely occurrence to you, is that for some reason that's why it is that way. Well,
Huh.
you're sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to put in my brain why. is you have so many little details that are just because of the way that it is. And it's like, what matters versus what doesn't. Is this important? Well, it's just for some background mechanics, or, oh, this is the key to the puzzle if you use your brain.
He says, "Welcome to the neurodivergent struggle of here's all the details. Good luck, fucker."
Here's the amount of detail I am happy with being able to provide you as the DM should you ask about it. Have fun filtering, that's not my job.
You asked. Good luck, fucker.
I cannot predict all the niche details you guys will want to know about, so I try to just come up with an abundance. But also, I'm a lot more prone to it on maps like this that I made from scratch for something like a dungeon crawl. When you're out and about exploring the world, other places aren't necessarily always going to have so much fine description and development. I'll just make it up as I go. But that doesn't help you right now much, does it?
No.
It's okay. Because Cole, while you are trying to figure out what the hell is going on with that platform, hey Nemo,
Oh no. Yeah.
while you're sitting there reading your book, you catch something like a smell, just a very, very faint smell carried across on a breeze. There's no wind in here, but it's that sort of just like barely noticeable perception of something in your senses, and you're not even quite sure what sense it is right away. You're not even entirely sure it's your sense of smell, but you're as you try to like focus on it, your brain will kind of equate it roughly to a sense of smell as far as like just sort of being able to passively detect whatever it is. And it's not anything particularly specific even, other than it reminds you of childhood. Something about it reminds you of something very, very far back in your childhood that even you can't identify, trying to consciously think why, like what is this? But like a long time ago.
Oh.
And if you're trying to like look around and like quote unquote sniff it out, for lack of a better term occurring to me, it would
Yeah.
it would lead you towards the well.
Oh shit. Okay. Here I thought Nemo was gonna blame Ron for farting or something. It's like, damn, dude, smell that from over here. So, sniff, sniff, sniff. I can't get closer. I'm
Yeah,
gonna fall
yeah,
in.
no, you're good. Do you want to attempt to actually smell, or do you want to do any other sort of check as far as trying to figure out what's up?
That'd be like a history? No.
Yeah, I could see
It's
I could see history, arcana,
okay.
investigation, perception, survival, maybe, since survival often has to deal with like
The senses.
yeah,
But if I can
navigating
get
the
away with
wilderness.
Arcana, can I do that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean there's been enough pretty recognizable magic effects going on in the last couple rooms. I think it would be fair to assume that is an angle to consider it from.
Okay. I'll go with Arcana. Please don't stop. Please don't stop. Yoink.
Welcome to the club.
Yep. She's just like over by that well, just like sniff, 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 sniff. It's like when you think you smell gas around your car, and you're trying to figure out if it's just from the exhaust or is it coming from the engine.
And then at least if you're me, you remember, oh right, I'm parked next to a gas station. Somebody probably let their car overflow. That's happened a few times, and I was confused for a while before I made that realization. Um, okay. Cole and a Yejier. I'm gonna briefly put you two in the waiting room,
Oh no.
Ooh,
Bye, everyone.
but you'll be
Don't we
back.
Have
agree?
fun watching Nemo's death.
this'll
Help.
be interesting.
Help.
Okay. All right, Nemo. It's just you and the DM now. So,
You know, that's terrifying to hear.
s- so particularly, you still aren't entirely sure what this sense is, what this either your ability to detect it or even what the sensation that you're experiencing is. But it's not compulsive. You're able to choose to walk away from it if you wish. But as you get closer, there is something about it that a part of you inside can't fully figure out in detail, but you can remember something, just even if it's super repressed or forgotten. You may have been an infant beyond any capacity to retain a memory lasting to your current age, but something recognizes the smell of another world.
That's terrifying. Um, that's great. Um,
And you don't so much hear so much as feel a very faint sense of maybe groaning or like mildly discomforted moaning. Again, you're not even sure if you truly hear it, but you're pretty sure that's what it is you're detecting as you focus longer on this well. It starts out as maybe one, and it doesn't get louder, but somehow you can just sort of sense the development from maybe one of these sort of echoes of a moan, and it
all I
increases
hear is
in number without
screams.
being louder. Thank you for that. That had actually not crossed my mind. Um, but you begin to be able to sense all of a decent. I don't want to say a large number because I don't know what number that would conjure in your head for you, but like too many to easily count of just like a passive sort of
600 men, it seems.
and just kind of rising and falling like the ebb of the girded sea on Garrett's docks.
Oh,
Again, it doesn't get louder or softer. You just sense that it has a similar sort of dynamic as you're focusing on this. But doing so, at least for now, that's about as far as any of this develops on its own without you doing anything else. Like you can't keep staring at it and keep learning more.
right.
Um, but that's about everything that you experience with being near this well.
Okay. Um, yeah, okay.
Questions before I pull them back?
Yeah, I'm trying to look at her pack. What does a scholar pack have?
It's got rope. We know that.
Got we got rope now.
Because Explorer's Pack, right? That's what she has.
No, she has the scholars.
Oh, that's right, the Scholar's Pack. Yeah. I want to say it's got candles and writing implements, but I don't remember much beyond that.
Yeah.
Incense, probably. Oh no, that's a
It
priest's
just says,
pack.
yeah, no, it's just backpack, book of lore, ink pen, parchment, bag of sand, and knife.
Perfect. You're prepared for everything. You've got
Yep.
sand, and you've got knife.
Uh, I kind of wanted her to try to make contact, but I don't know if that would prove fruitful for anything. Um,
I mean, you could always try.
yeah. So, doesn't Ayashi have something to light?
Something for light? I want to say she has maybe a torch. Ron would have a torch. Um, but I don't remember specifically for a Yajier. I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm, uh, do we try, like putting some parchment down and then, using the sand as like a medium?
Okay.
You know, like how, you could put sand, or like put sound to sand and it forms like
Yeah, it'll form
almost.
shapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that absolutely deserves an inspiration. That is a very
Woo!
good idea. That is something I would have never been able to predict or even think of, but I love that. Um, Mechanically, it's no different, but I give you an extra big inspiration because that's very good thinking for how to do this. Um, yeah, make as part of that. I want you to make a roll of some kind, but I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
So what? I don't remember if you have mechanics with your class for initiating contact in a way like this or not. But if not, feel free to just make whatever check you think represents how Nemo would attempt to establish that contact.
Um, she doesn't. No. So, I want to say at least she'll probably do it by, through like setting up her little paper and sand and then, beginning to meditate and, start to like put up like feelers
Okay.
so that much like when she's actually looking through the veil, uh, she's just more in a way of like using her sense of feel rather
Okay.
than her sense of sight.
Okay. In that case, let's say go ahead and make a perception check. It's kind of a weird sense of perception since you're not using necessarily sight or sound, but spiritual perception.
Okay. I'm gonna use that inspiration.
Okay. Okay. You definitely find and are able to tap like the early semblance of a connection to something, but it feels like it tries to reach out to you and then it shrinks away almost out of fear or uncertainty. But when that happens, you look at your paper and the sand has shifted and it forms a bunch of waving like more or less parallel lines, but they're not straight. They just all move together in sort of a flowing, undulating fashion. It could be some kind of a ribbon. It could be an arcane sigil. It could be a river or a waterfall. It's not entirely clear, but something did attempt to reciprocate your connection.
Okay.
And
That
Yeah, if you don't have any other immediate questions, I was going to pull everybody back in and let them know you were
Yeah.
playing with sand.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Welcome
Hello,
back.
friends. I didn't die yet.
Yay!
Be the ghost of Nemo.
Fair. Yeah. Nemo, would you like to describe for them what they would have seen if they looked over in your direction?
um,
If you would like, I can. I just want to give you the chance if you would want
please help.
to. Okay. So, as you guys are doing that, you would notice Nemo has stood up from her reading and kind of like looked around a little bit and as if looking for something or like thinking about something uncertain. And then she ascends the couple of steps up to the well and she kind of looks at and about the well space for a minute. And then she like pops a squat and digs in her pack to produce a piece of parchment and a pocket of sand. And she pours the sand on the parchment and sits there.
Just normal Nemo things.
Yeah.
That's
Honestly, it's
sound
not
about right,
far
Rab?
off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I want Cole to be surprised, but Nemo is quirky, so
Out of
eh.
everyone in this group.
Like, that is not a cause for concern. That's just, well, Nemo's doing something. Cool.
I think
I'll
if
let
it's
her work.
important enough that Nemo will tell us, or if it's
Exactly.
deadly
It's
enough, Nemo will scream.
she's trying a method to do something.
Um, yeah, she'll kind of like raise her hand. Like, I got a picture, an image, a symbol. It's something.
Hmm?
The SGA is
Cool.
not doing anything of import over here. She'll loom over Nemo. I feel like that's just the best way to describe a Yeshiabe standing near someone.
It's just towering over them.
Let alone as Nemo is seated on the ground and Aegier walks over and stares down from a standing position. I think, yeah,
In
that
the
seems
dark.
about right. Oh, fuck yeah, in the dark.
So I love the fact that like Nemo has been trying to read in the dark with no light.
I mean, I've always understood dark vision lets you see in dim light as if it's normal light, you just don't see it in color. So, like,
Yeah.
you would have sufficient light to read, quote unquote, as long as it's not too far away.
Yeah. No wonder her eyes are tired.
Fair. No other reasons.
Nope.
Yeah. And then she'll show them the what is on the parchment now,
Okay.
and it seems to be like two parallel lines and like a wavy symbol. I'm doing really bad at describing it.
I mean, that's the description you were given. I think I did explain it poorly. It's more than just two lines. It's more like four or five, but
Oh.
they're all doing that same thing, where they're roughly in the same, not identical, but very similar sort of wavy progression across the
Like
paper.
that? Or
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I can just
more
fucking
like
draw the thing, can't I?
yeah.
I
Woman symbol or like woman symbol.
more like why?
wait, what? I didn't.
Did I mishear something? I swear someone said something about like a woman or a female.
No, yeah, she did. Um,
She did?
But I will let Ulf draw because he actually knows what's in his head.
bold, but
That
okay.
won't it? Huh. Okay. Weird.
If you
Oh,
cannot draw it in the dark, I won't be able to see it.
that's yes. That was my confusion.
Yeah, if you do it
Yeah.
like down here or something, we can
Yeah.
move it later. Or yeah, that works. I can see that through the window
Yeah, through the wall.
on the left.
That was a test. That is not part of it.
To the window, to the
To the
wall.
To the
wall.
wall.
To the wall. Till the dust falls from these halls. All dead
Nice.
people crawls.
No dead people crawl.
Ah, skate, skate, mother.
Mother lover.
Well, I'm trying to think. There should be a better phrase than that.
But yeah. So it's kind of like that. It's more elongated across the paper. So it's not quite so squat. But the thing about it is, it's sand used to create this pattern on the parchment, and it doesn't seem like there's a grain of sand loose on the paper. Like there's no like little periphery sand that just
Is it just this, Ulf?
yes.
Okay.
The
Neva, what
one
we're
long one is not actually that way.
okay.
I just goofed the drawing. But imagine, okay, I might be able to do it this way. Uh, maybe. That might be because I was in that mode. Yes, it is. Okay. So it's more proportionally like, I'll just put it in the room.
Thank you.
Oh,
Like that.
yes, they're crying, I think.
What?
Yeji is going to look a little concerned at that.
There. What? I,
Who?
actually, yeah, no, that'll be Ron's first chime in for this session was, I'm sorry, who and who's crying? There, what do you know that I don't?
Ema points to the well and she's
That's even more horrifying.
she looks up to like Cole and Ayeshier. I hear them crying. They're in the water?
It seems like a bad idea, but Yeji will lean over the edge of the well, look in, listen real hard.
Okay, make a perception check.
I don't. This feels like when the early 2000s stare at the computer screen to do the map. And like
Yeah.
a horror image pops up. This is what it's feeling like. Perception, you say?
Yes. And Ron will also come up and peek over. Hey, hey, hey!
Oh, congratulations!
Nat 20!
Thanks.
Woo!
I don't get those very often. I also haven't rolled a ton, so
That
it's
is
my own fault.
a free 150 XP. Um, as a result for your perception, unfortunately, you can tell beyond a doubt that there is no fucking sound coming out of there.
Perfect thing to roll a 20 on.
But you do notice something very, very, very hard to notice that definitely nobody else has probably seen. If they have, they've kept it to themselves. And I'm saying that because the rest of you have definitely not seen this. Further down, quite possibly, well, definitely like even past the range of your dark vision, you can make out you start to like lose the cylindrical shape of the shaft going down this well towards the edge of your dark vision. But somewhere past where that happens and it all just looks like a void, you can just barely make out the points of some thin metal barbs that poke inwards towards the center of the shaft. You don't see the bases, but you see the tips. They don't. The tips don't touch. Uh,
Lame.
we were all gonna think it no matter how I said it, so I'll just say it that way. Like there's definitely a ton of space between them, both in the middle where the ends of these barbs are sticking. I say barbs; they're not really like barbs. They're single pointed things. Um, but you can't, there's also a lot of space between them, like around the circle, if that makes sense.
It's a petrified sarlacc.
Ish, like think one layer of sarlacc, kind of with longer teeth, but like these could possibly be seen vaguely mimicking teeth in a creature like that. Yeah, you wouldn't get the impression like of any definitive features because you can barely make out they exist at all. But they don't look like a creature's pieces.
Which does lead me to believe this is a job for my handy dandy projector that I stole.
Nice.
I
That's
totally
what,
forgot about that. I was asking about the light.
So Yejiye looks down there for a minute, dead silence, going, I don't think Nemo's all right, but digs into her bag.
Nemo has been
And-
seeing things. She's hearing voices. Some people are happy with me, but these ones are crying. They're sad.
Maybe they're crying with joy. You never know. Yejiye will shine her light. Oh, sorry, a minute. Yejiye will shine her light down into the pit. Since I got the long arms, could I actually shine the light kind of like from the top of the lantern down? My brain is saying like a black light reveal thing going on.
Sure, yeah.
So like going above the lantern to shine through it without actually having to light the lantern. Because lighting the lantern sounds scary.
Fair.
It sounds important, though.
It's a good idea.
If it doesn't illuminate enough, she'll just like look with her, huge flashlight. But she will also try using the lantern glass to illuminate.
Okay. In either case, you will get the same result. The lantern doesn't really like intake and then project out back the light you're sending through it very cohesively. It just the frame of the lantern gets kind of weird about sending out shadows and blockage in ways that still just kind of make it hard to track what you're seeing down there, if anything. But attempting it that way, you don't get any better detail of these protrusions you're seeing. And holding it, just not trying to shine it through the lantern, but just trying to shine it as far down as you can. The rest of you looking down in there would just barely, at the very edge of your dark vision. No, sorry, still well past the edge of your dark vision to where you would still be rolling with disadvantage on perception. You can barely make out the forms that I've been describing for a Yejiye. But
And
there's also something else you notice where the image that the projector spits out onto the wall, it never comes to fruition.
So like it doesn't hit a solid surface essentially that we can see.
It does not hit a solid surface. Even if you maneuver it and like swish it around to try and find the walls of the shaft, you don't find them past a point, and the point where they stop, where they just kind of cease to catch the light in a way that shows a solid form or like a solid shape of the wall of that basin, it's not clear where it ends.
Okay, so I'm assuming there's like loose rocks or something in this area.
Yeah.
Yejiye being very careful not to drop her projector, she likes it, is going to grab just like a small, fits in a normal sized palm of a hand,
Mhm.
and we're gonna imbue it with radiating 5 feet of light. Magical tinkering.
Okay.
And we're just gonna drop it and see what happens. Because my assumption, like, my thought is you can see a candle flame from a mile away in the darkness on a clear night. So as long as it's not like foggy down there, it'll be a lot easier to see something emitting light farther than my dark vision than trying to shine a light down into my dark vision.
Very good idea. Very clever. Uh, I like it.
And if anyone else like peeks into the well while Ayejie is doing all this, she will like point out what she saw slash thinks she saw down in the bottom of the well.
Uh, right about the time that you get the projector lowered down to send the light as far down as you can is when Ron shows up and peeks over, and he absolutely looks like he is genuinely about to just fire his crossbow down there. But then
That's probably a good idea.
he barely sees those vaguely monster teeth like protrusions, and he stops and he goes, I am suddenly very glad that you brought that along. I don't want to wake anything up that has teeth like that. I don't care if it's the size of a rat.
And then Ayejie immediately drops a rock on it.
Oh,
Unless
thank you for sharing that.
stop her.
Unless what, Pez?
Unless Ron tries to stop her from dropping the pebble in there, but
No, like he can. He sees the merit of being able to drop
yeah.
an illuminated item instead. Uh, you drop your pebble, and we'll come back and figure out what happens after we take a short wellness break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
So let's go ahead and take a 3 to 5 minute break. Get up, stretch, drink water, eat a snack,
Fantastic.
pet a soft creature, whatever you got to do. But we're probably still going to keep rolling for a little while, so let's fit in a break since we were talking about making a long session out of it tonight.
Bye, chat.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll
Be
be
back.
back in a little bit. Okie dokie. Ah, well, they're finding some things. They're, they may not be answers, they may not be helpful or help them open anything, but they're finding stuff. So we're getting somewhere. We'll find out what the consequences are of dropping a lit rock down a deep, dark hole are after we get back. But whether you are watching this live now or if you are watching this as a VOD, um, before I edit out the actual break screen for the YouTube edits, because I'm trying to be better about doing that. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you don't have to just fast forward, 5 minutes. It'll just jump for you. But still, take the time to pause and do something nice for yourself. Whatever you got to do. Millie here, she got that cute little smile. We want to keep that smile on her face. How do we do that? We take care of ourselves. Because she knows if you're not taking care of yourself, and that makes her sad. Not only sad, that makes her upset. She can do things about it if you're not taking care of yourself. I don't know how she got these powers. It may be Millie, our dear sweet Millie goat, that this whole temple they're exploring is truly dedicated to. All the power might come from her. We don't know. But whatever form of self care you choose to indulge in, go ahead and go ham. We've got a 3 minute ad break, and it might take another minute or two after that's done. But you deserve to take care of yourself and show yourself some kindness. I would show you the kindness myself if I were there, but this is the best I can do from afar. So do what you got to do what you want to do, and we'll be back in a little bit. We'll see you then. Hello, welcome back. I have returned. Um, Pez isn't quite ready for us to jump back in at the moment, but I tried to get back a little early to catch Hoban on cat cam. And right as the transition effect came on the screen to get the camera back live is when he decided, nah, I'm done. So, figures. Not that he's historically very camera shy, but apparently he's just not feeling it tonight, so I apologize. We don't have the little girly cats out tonight, so I know a couple sessions ago we got our internet debut for our new one of our two new cats on cat cam, uh, Mama Zoe, and then also her baby Emma, who's almost a year old now. She's a whole ass cat. She's almost bigger than her mother, because Zoe is very little. But we got to see Zoe on camera. That was very cute. That actually got clipped. So if you want to see that, it's not deleted every 2 weeks like Twitch deletes VODs. So you can find it on Twitch, or I believe it's also in the highlights and clips channel in our Discord server. So you could also just go find it there. Uh, if cats aren't your thing, you get the double whammy of accidentally showing my feet for free, because that's where the cat was. So if that's more your thing, uh, you do you, but I don't want to know that my feet do that for you. So just enjoy the clip for that value, and just don't ask me for more, because I won't. If I do, I'm going to charge money for it. Alright, that said, Pez is sitting down, and I'm going to move away from that topic of conversation before I say something to embarrass myself or accidentally offend anybody who's into that, because that's not the intention, it's just not my jam. So, let's get back and see what happens when they drop a rock down a hole. Okay, everybody back? Good and ready?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Physically,
Excellent. Did your wellness get broken?
Maybe.
generally.
Excellent. That's
I
how
started watching Epic the Musical videos, and yeah, I hurt my own feelings.
Were you listening to The Underworld? All I hear are
Yes.
screams.
Yeah.
I mean, that
I
was...
got to the mob part, and I was like, oh no, this part always gets me.
Yeah,
Yup.
every time. For however many dozens upon dozens of times I've listened to Epic the Musical, the same spots, without fail, always still give me goosebumps or get me teary-eyed.
Mm.
And that's definitely one of them. Okay, but we're all back, we're all good. You guys should be audible to chat, which is extra good. So Yejier drops a glowing rock down into the pit. While still holding the projector, right?
Yeah, like, if she has to set the projector down, she will. But I figure she can kind of, like, hold the projector in her armpit a little bit while dropping the rock.
Yeah, no, you definitely can.
Honestly, she might be able to palm the projector.
I was actually just wondering if she would be able to. I'm uncertain either way. But either way, you can keep the light directed downward where it needs to go. And you drop your illuminated rock, and it falls. And you can track the light that it's putting off as it descends past. And again, you're still not sure at what point you lose the sense of shape to this descent. Not saying that it does get wider, but it seems like it might somewhere along the way. But it certainly doesn't get smaller. Bless you. It certainly doesn't get any smaller as it falls. And it keeps falling. And you catch a brief glimpse of those, for lack of a better term, monster teeth protrusions. Which, again, they're definitely, from the blips you've seen of them or the faint detail, they are definitively not actually any sort of obvious teeth. They're just arranged in a sensation that invokes that as an appearance. That was horrible English, but I'm going to move on. But you can watch the rock as it falls past where the projector's light goes. And you can keep watching it get smaller and smaller until you cannot see it anymore. Even if you pull the projector away, like you said, in pure darkness you could see a candle light unobstructed from a mile away. You don't see that rock in that darkness.
Angie's gonna stare at that dark hole for like a couple seconds longer and just go, "Yeah, I don't like this hole."
Your
Hi.
mic suddenly sounds different.
Sorry, how about now?
Yes.
It was shifted a centimeter down.
I've noticed both of our headsets are prone to that, but my new one I got for Christmas is slightly less so. Hi, Hoban. Um, but yeah, as you watch and the light of the rock definitively just fades, and especially after like assuming you do at some point remove the projector to see if you can see it better, because I like to think I know that's something Pez would probably think to do. When you do that, Ron lets out a whistle, just like a. Oh, if I was,
We couldn't actually hear the whistle, but we can
I was,
imagine
I
it.
was afraid.
Yeah.
I was wondering. Yeah, it could have come through horrendously through the mic, so I'm kind of okay that it blocked it. But like a long, understanding whistle, and just goes. Well, if I was gonna be given anything, that's where I'd think to put it. It seems like it's made to drop stuff into.
Nima turns her head. It does look like a maw.
Yeah. I'm only kind of certain that there's not actually something at the bottom eating whatever goes down in, but that might just be the weird sharp pieces. I don't know, I can shoot down and see, but nothing responded to the light source in the dark, and I feel like that would probably be almost more disturbing if something was actually down there.
While this discussion's taking place, Gull's gonna take a look up at this, you know,
The body case.
yeah, the ornate body, and take a look in it, or a look at it. Just, it's the only one in this location, and like we've seen these scattered throughout. Just want to see if this one's different for some reason.
But not really, not in any discernible way other than it's in here where the others were mostly either empty cases in a storage space, or at least seeming to be in a storage space, or like seemed to have some sort of particular placement elsewhere. Like they didn't seem like they're just left around for no reason. But that would really be the only thing different about it, is the fact that it's here. Like they all have pretty much, even like the intricate decorations etched into the metal are, as far as any of you have been able to notice without really looking into it, they've all been seemingly the same.
Well,
Hey,
yes.
how do you say death god in giant?
I don't have a conlang for that, but you could share that info easily.
I just
Where
whipped my
Nemo's
head around to look at Ulf.
As soon as I heard how do you say pause, I was like, I don't have an answer for this. I have the sounds of the giant language. I don't have any of its words yet.
Yeah.
The
Where she's
AGA
trying
will
to.
happily tell Nemo.
Yeah. And she's gonna ask for like the literal translation of it. Is it death or is it dead?
Probably, would it be god of death?
It'd be something like that. Yeah. It wouldn't be like
Or
like
like possessive, like death's god?
yeah, it wouldn't be like anything pertaining to the dead as a a term relating to the people who are not alive. It would be the more encompassing of the concept of death, if that made any sense at all. It would be more of an abstract and not a concrete.
Okay. I asked because it's been stated before that like there are very little uh people. So I was wondering if like the way that they describe a death god is by calling it a dead god.
Valid. Would any of my other languages kind of do that? Goblin or Dwarven? Or would they all kind of be
No, they would have the same
possessive
sort
or
of
something of?
inference. Yeah, they would have
Okay.
the same sort of inference of it being a god whose domain or power is derived from the nature of death and not so much the god themselves being unalive.
Yeah, and yeah. I'm just my brain's walking back through things because the one of the books that Nemo had read was talking about during the process and preparing for mummification, it was preparing for his gift of death. So I think his domain is death, the god of death.
Yeah.
Ed Death God. Is that ironic?
Yeah. So the reason I was trying to like figure out the difference and how they describe it was because I believe is it again Varkon?
Varkon said dead god.
Yeah. But they're in the temple of a death god, so I was trying to figure out like if there was a
Now, hold on.
Wait.
They could both be true.
Or we can get real philosophical. If a god dies, are they still under the domain of the death god?
they're under their own domain.
Well,
It's like what would if theoretically if a god can die, would they be under the care of the death god then? So would they be here even if they're not the death god?
That's too many levels deep for me right now. However, that if it is an old god and gods can die, this ancient god of death could be a dead god.
Yeah, they could be one and the same.
And then, if a god of death dies, do they fall under the domain of a living god over death that's just not them? I don't get paid enough to
Maybe.
ask these questions, man.
He's from the
You
school of
wanna
hard
keep-
knocks, not philosophy.
When Ron busts out some poetry, I'm gonna laugh so fucking hard. He's like, "What? I've been reading lately."
You can read.
There's
Some people can.
there's a point in my manuscript at the process of the gang steals a bar from an NPC, my infamous D&D story. But there's a part in the book where a group of locals comes up to be like, "Hey, why'd you kick this guy out of his bar?" And they offer to show documentation as proof that they bought it, which they absolutely didn't. They just had enough time to draw up a fake document. And the guy asked to see it, and one of the other farm boys that's there with him goes, "Since when do you read?" And he goes, "Shut up, I've been practicing." Some of these words are ones I ain't known yet.
Like, I didn't know you can read. You get credit for trying.
Yeah, for the,
Mine about reading the Bible.
this is kind of the vibe of the whole scene. So that's if I understood it correctly, I think that was the reference Pez was making. Since when do you read, Corson?
ASGA will point out that the only things she have that could be of him, if it's literal, not like give of him as in like give something of death to this pit. She has a charred humanoid skull with a partially gilded jaw and a piece of finger bone from the like really creepy locked room that we got, our stuff stolen in.
To be fair, just for context, because the Egier would remember, I just want to make sure Pez does. That item was found in the midst of a bunch of other pretty obvious spell components. So
Indeed,
that,
but
yeah, I just don't know. I wanted to make sure you remembered in case the Egier would.
yeah, and it's
weigh
like
it
I highly
differently.
doubt either of them are going to be important for this. Like the finger bone is permanently cold to the touch. That seems like it could be part of a death god. I don't know, but it was just in an unlocked box with some grave dirt.
True.
Before we start chucking things into the Cole's struggling for a word here.
Maul? Well,
Maw? Yeah, Maw. This is the temple for said death god. There was that giant statue when we first entered that I assume to be a depiction of said god. I am curious if there's any iconography on him or on it, or any more details we could glean from the statue now that we've learned more that might provide further indication as to what something of him would be, whether that be physical or a representation.
that is some very good thinking. My question unto all of you is, why?
Come
Vague
again?
shrug.
Because, what I mean
Yeah,
is,
we did what we meant to do down here. We could just leave.
and like, I have to come up with an argument to convince the client to still pay us, even when we're gonna show up empty-handed. We're gonna show up late, by the way. I think by this, if we leave, like say now, I think by the time we reach the surface, we probably would have been here down like a week.
Almost.
Yet there was a timeline on this. It is absolutely in my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because originally, from the day you started your journey, you had 3 days before the client showed up, and you were told that they were going to wait a week, so you would have 10 days. I have been keeping track of that. I was wondering if y'all were, but I wasn't gonna say anything.
Nemo is. Because that's
So,
her job.
What day are we on?
You are on. This is not quite halfway through day 4.
Oh, we got plenty of time. um, no, just
Because it'll take us about 2 days to get back to the Crystal Lake. And then we gotta go pick up the goblins. And then, I don't know, are we stopping by 10th again?
We have to, unless we find another way out.
Yeah.
And we did say we'd help them.
Yeah.
Unless he's gone.
Granted, 10th and the goblins are near the entry. We could always come back down for them after we meet with the client.
Yeah,
What I'm trying
they're
to say
close
is,
enough.
I'm
It
not
should
too
be same day.
keen.
Yeah. My point. Um, give me a little bit more time, hour or two, to see there's more here, and I'm intensely curious. There's knowledge to be gained from these people that no one on in the outside of this room knows what's going on here. That can mean a lot to a lot of different people.
There it is.
I don't know
No.
what you're talking about.
The angle.
I was starting to wonder. Nope, that tracks. I mean, shoot, you ever find that library that they were working for? You could probably sell them this very stuff. Because I doubt they're going to come back and find what you have. Unless they have to, and even then they might not want to stay.
I thought about it, and that's why I took a lot of the books I thought would be more useful than the ones Shoko was left. But that was until we found portals. And I don't think it's anyone's best interest to try to learn to open these up.
Would ASGA have any thoughts on portals?
And
I don't think they'd freak her out as much as a normal person should be freaked out by the thought of portals.
I feel like she would be intrigued by, like, just the mechanics of it.
Specifically because of her heritage is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, as far
Okay,
as
I was
that's
making sure we
concerned,
were
I
on the
don't
same
think so.
page.
No.
Yeah, ASGA can take it or leave it. She doesn't care if we meet if we don't meet the client in time. But she's also like, I've been underground for a while now. I'm happy to wait a little longer. Before Cole goes, ASGA is going to toss him an experimental egg. And she'll say that one thing she said again, where if you want to fly, just crack this egg.
All you gotta
Which
do
does mean
is crack open that egg.
if you want 10 feet movement flying speed for 10 minutes, this experimental egg will give it to you. Just because that's a pretty tall statue.
It is.
And I don't feel like helping you climb. I'm probably just going to sit in this room.
I appreciate it. Nemo, you staying with the Yeshe? But damn it. I've been
You
trying
got
to
her
avoid
name right.
using. No, I've been trying to avoid using your name. God damn it. Can I retcon what I just said?
Sure.
Accidentally learned her name through osmosis.
For the
No.
sake of the bit, yes, you can.
Okay. Nemo, do you want to stay here as well? In the room versus coming to the statue. I'd be curious in case more of our friends are hanging out there.
Fine. Go. I don't wanna.
Y'all want me to tag along, or should I stay here?
Nemo just kicking rocks the entire time she walks.
I don't like leaving anyone alone.
Yeah, I don't either.
Buddy system.
Yeah.
Just make a
So-
loud noise if you need me.
I'm getting the better end of this deal.
You are.
Here, I'll fast track you guys.
Yeah.
if I can.
Bloop.
Hold on. Nope. That was a goof.
Zoop.
Stand by.
Cole!
Yeah.
Cole
The
disappeared
most
into the wall!
The most Yevshiga is going to be doing is just like seeing if all of the runes on the portal hats are the same, or like if they're 100% different, stuff like that. She's just going to kind of be poking around, no real reason.
Okay.
Not
There
suspicious
She
at
goes
all.
through a portal.
there are a lot of the same things. There are probably patterns that could be discerned, but they would take a lot of time to suss out, much like trying to crack a code.
And she
But-
might write down a few of them that are like recurring, so that maybe she'll use it in an egg or something after studying it for a bit.
Interesting.
Sorry, I tried.
Let's...
Bless you. Yeah, you can make note of a few. Both like a lot of it is the same. Like it's still a decently wide range of markings, but the orders in which they're given and like what layer of the cone, because the cones are kind of like in tiers. Like it's not a smooth cone. It's like a
And what's a
ziggurat.
stepped cone if not a geometric egg?
Sure, we'll go with that. But you'd be able to
Yeah,
copy
she's
some
just
of them.
pretty much like going off of vibes. Just if any of them kind of stand out to her, if she sees the same sort of patterns on a lot of them, she might just like slap them down.
Okay, before I move on with them, if that's what you're doing, make an Arcana check for me.
Notoriously, I'm so good at Arcana. Actually, I'm not bad. I thought I was worse.
Historically, you and I both play characters that Arcana is not one of their stronger skills.
I notoriously play low int characters. Okay, we can say it outright.
Okay, all right, noted. That's
Okay, and
that's
it
all I've
doesn't have
got
to
to
be
say
resolved right
about
this
that.
second.
Oh no, it won't be. But your result is
Thanks.
noted. That's
Okay.
that's for me for later.
Oh,
Okay.
that's not suspicious at all.
I should hope it was. It was supposed to be. All right, Cole and Nemo, you are back in the main ceremony hall. And everything, as far as you can tell, is as you left it. What's your
Okay,
first move?
Can you describe the statue for us again?
Yes, I can. Let me scroll up my 80 billion pages of notes about this temple. Okay, so the statue, as you can kind of determine from the angle, is pictured as a horned individual with a sickle in one hand and uh, an axe, I believe, in the other. Their features are definitely not just straight human. They're, especially for the two of you, you'd be able to recognize in like the facial features and head shape and the horns. Definitely rings more of some sort of fiendish influence on the portrayal or design, whether that's somebody just chose that or this person is properly depicted as having some sort of fiendish blood. Because the horns on the statue are not part of the headdress. They are pretty definitively, while you're standing at the ground looking up at it, part of the figure's actual like skull, much like both of you have your horns. But it is an intense expression on their face. It's not inherently like malicious, but it's not the welcoming arms of, say, a goddess of agriculture. So it's you get like a powerful, stern, authoritative vibe out of this at least somewhat fiendish figure portrayed in stone. And it is there's like a very loose kind of depiction of wings on the back. They're definitely not the thing that's supposed to capture your attention. You kind of have to walk around the statue to even really notice that it's there. Um, like the focus is on front center this entity as if you were standing face to face, looking up, being loomed over, much like Nemo seated on the floor when a Yejier comes over to lean over and see what she's drawing on the paper. At least,
Gotcha.
Cole, it would feel that way for you. Nemo, this is way worse. A Yejier feels so very reasonably sized now after that
Yeah.
experience, after having that experience so closely. But no, this statue is like 3 stories tall. Uh, Minimal clothing. Um, there's kind of like a ceremonial sort of collar around the neck and shoulders, and that is the only clothing worn over the upper body. And then the details from like the waist down are not as detailed. They definitely wanted you paying attention to the top half. Um, but there's essentially just like a sash with some sort of like draped cloth between the legs, and then because if not y'all, somebody in chat will probably want to know, there's no detail underneath said cloth. It is just smooth stone. Um, like the garments from the waist down are shown to have some sort of like simple kind of patterning and design in the fabric or whatever material was used for the garments, but it definitely doesn't look like it's supposed to be fancy. Like the fancy is the ceremonial headdress and the collar.
Nemo looks at the statue, looks at Cole. You guys got somewhat similar horns.
Thanks. So, after staring for a few minutes, um, Cole's gonna pull out his new favorite book. I don't know.
Is
Can
it
we?
the furry porn one?
No, the one with the cunning linguist.
The tongue. Okay.
Yes. Um, he's gonna open up the book. How do you fit into all this? And see if he can get a reply.
You get the start of a word barely fading into existence to see, as if being written with a quill that has far too little ink. But you don't watch it getting scrawled out.
Yep.
As a reminder, it just sort of fades onto the page as much, like all at once. But it only gets 2.5 letters in, and then it just fades away. And you get the equivalent letters of the fantasy setting to get W, E, and probably A. But the A is where it starts to trail off and not be a complete letter anymore.
Shit. Ran out of power. Closing the book. Then he's gonna put it back in his pack.
The book ran out of power.
Whatever is doing the writing had mentioned it needed to regain. So it's at its limit for now.
Hmm.
Doesn't answer what I needed it to. And is this mummy casket same as the other ones we've seen?
Yes.
Now that
Yep.
we've seen them.
This was the first one you guys laid eyes on, and all the rest have been like this one. The
Yep.
markings, the mechanisms, everything about it seems the same.
Cole's gonna walk over and pick up the canoptic jar.
Okay. It is sealed, but it's just sealed with like wax. So if you want to open it, you can.
Oh, we're not intending to open it.
Oh.
He's just kind of heft it and be thinking out loud. God of death, and in preparing people, the heart was the center of them, and they were using this to prepare people for his gift. We've used the heart as a key as far as give of others. So would a prepared one be of him? And he's gonna glance at Nemo.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. You asked me a question, and my brain like automatically went blank. I was like, "Oh no."
Rad herself was not listening.
It's all good. It's getting a little later than we usually go.
I
That
know,
feels
it's-
legitimate for Nemo too, though. Like,
No,
for
it
certain
does.
times
Yeah.
Nemo talks to herself. She's like, Cole's just having a conversation with the voices in his head. I will wait
Yeah.
over here and stare at something.
I'll wait until he is done with his demons.
Yeah.
To be fair, Cole was just talking to his book.
Yep. She was like, "Oh shit, you're no longer talking to the book. You're talking to me." What was the question again?
Cole kind of re-step through it of if the heart was to give of others, but preparing the heart of an individual was preparing the person for his gift, would a fully processed and prepared heart be the key to give of him?
Yes, but again, I don't think we should be selling the information on those portals.
We'll see what we learn. Might not be anything, might be something for us to know. Keep in our back pocket.
All right.
We
Pure
might not.
curiosity kills my cat. I'm killing you in the worst way possible.
Good thing you don't have a cat. So he's gonna carry the canoptic jar and just walk right by.
I'll be taking this.
All right, Ulf. Can you fast track us back?
Uh, yeah, one moment. I need to type a thing that admittedly is inconsequential, but I don't want to forget it.
All right, I'm running back.
Okay.
Let's beat him.
Oh, right into the wall.
Yeah, there's a couple. Oh, open this door. Oh, there we go. Ah. I could not remember. I didn't remember there being a canoptic jar here, but this character isn't the right character, so there might be, and I just brought in an extra one, but it's fine.
Cole starts running through the ruins, leaving Nemo behind. Nemo's cussing at him the entire way.
Meanwhile, Cole's talking to himself. Finkel is Einhorn. Einhorn is Finkel.
Oh, wait for me. I got little legs.
Fantastic.
Okay. I had to preserve that exchange in textual form because that was
No.
just fucking gold.
Thank you.
Okay, you made it back. Well done. I did not need to fast travel you.
Yeah, you were busy documenting history. I appreciate it.
I was. It was. I mean, never mind that it's recorded here, but I needed to put it in a context where I could send a gif of me doing a spit take laugh. As Cole says, it's a good thing you don't have a cat. Just.
And next we move on to notable witticisms.
Okay, so you make it back in here. Yezie, they walk in with one of the canopic jars you've seen all over this place.
I'm just gonna keep my distance.
Seeing you walk back in, Cole, Ron looks and he goes, Is that the only thing you found?
It's the only thing that seems like the next progression. Because to give of another was the heart itself. And in the earlier places looking into this place, this being, it talked about preserving the heart as preparing one for his gift. So, I'm wondering if a prepared version to be presented falls into his realm and is of him. I suppose there's one way to find out.
Sure, give it a go.
He was going to very slowly grab the back of Ron and slowly pull him away from the well.
You really think it'll be
Like
that bad?
I'm not risking it. I can't make it out of here without you.
Noted. Fair enough. He'll go along.
That is a fair. Cole's gonna shrug. Fair point. And then he's gonna hold out the jar. I really hoped this does not tempt the fates, but this is a being so old that no one remembers who they were. So I hope everything's fine and the gods will not be angry with me.
If you're already wondering that, maybe we shouldn't. I don't like the smell. I don't like the noises I heard from it. And it feels like there's something lurking beneath the water.
To be fair, none of you saw or heard water. Just to point that out.
Oh, I forgot about the ripples. How does that tie in? So Cole's gonna pull the jar back in. The ripples. What does that mean?
It's just how I describe the atmosphere of this place.
Cole's gonna cock his head. Can you explain?
So the environment here feels very calm compared to outside of the temple, but it feels forcibly calm. You know, like how, say you're outside and in the let's say in the woods, there's an opening with a pond. You're standing in the water and the water goes still and everything goes quiet around you. That's unnatural, right?
Go on.
So when I tell you to stop putting ripples in the water, I'm really telling you to, like, please don't piss off whatever's lurking beneath it.
Get in the water.
In the water.
Like, I know something's here, but I don't know where it's at. I don't know if it's a threat or not. But you know, this also being the temple of the death god, I'm not too eager to be opening any portals to anywhere I don't want to venture.
I imagine Cole listening to all of this and just yeet.
Yellow.
Hey, no precognition.
Acts like he's gonna set it down. Football spikes it down the hole. Slam dunk. Or would he walk to the door like he's gonna go put it back and then turn around and 3-point shoot it?
Yeah.
Never
Also,
trust
like, if you
nerds to
open
be
it-
athletic.
Well, also, like, if by some fluke of fate or luck or whatever you want to fucking call it, if you get something to open and something comes out, don't you think that would be like a very terrible idea? Because we would be fucked.
I absolute worst case scenario, I might be able to buy us some time. It's not something I would do lightly, and I could only do it once. But y'all would need to get the fuck out that door immediately. And I would have to be the last one out the room.
See, I don't need Ron to try to make, like, a sacrifice here.
Oh, fuck no.
I just said I can't make it out here without
No,
him.
I just gotta be the last one out the room. You bet your ass I'm still getting out of the room. I know the risks of my job, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go tackling it like it's an old friend.
To make Ron's life easier, just in case Cole does want to do it. She's not going to stop Cole. She also has a morbid curiosity about him. She's just not going to be the one to do it. But yeah, we'll scoot over here near the door.
A Yajier in the background just whispering, "For science, for science, for science."
May the hurler of thunders smile upon me today, and if things go bad, may the blind one have pity in my soul. And then he drops the jar in the well.
The lantern flickers. Only a handful of times. And the interior of each of the portals starts to do something. And as soon as the lantern flickers out, so does any attempt at kicking on that the portals were doing.
Out of character. Oh! Fuck yes! Oh, I'm so proud of myself. I did something, guys.
As soon as he's like, the lantern flickers, in my head immediately, well, I hate that.
So Cole's just gonna be standing there kind of awestruck. I'm onto something. Not completely. But there is something here.
Terrific. Now, can we go?
I don't think this place is leaving anytime soon.
Cole's gonna uh, stop and think for a moment. In his estuary, he's gonna kind of glance around at his consumables, kind of nod to himself and go, "Not a bad idea." And then out to everyone else, "We have a lead. We know where this is. We know how to get in here. I'm comfortable walking at this point." So he'll nod the group. All right, let's begin our journey back.
Can we sleep?
Do you want to sleep in the temple? We've discussed this a couple of times, but we're a little wishy-washy on it. Maybe sleep like in the front room before you enter the creepy part.
Ron, what do you think is the safest to sleep at?
I think most of this place has a pretty decent seeming set of solid walls, and outside of the life that we brought in here with us, nothing has shown up, let alone tried to cause us harm. So I don't know if that's just the circumstance of the local wildlife and their activity cycles, or if they just don't come here. But I get the sense in here is a more controlled environment and a more controllable environment than being out in the caverns or in the Crystal Lake.
Yeah, but Nemo keeps talking to things in here.
There is that.
And they've seemed
you can't.
they've seemed benevolent so far, but we also just dropped a heart into a hole and did something. So I would like to be nearer the exit rather than farther from the exit. I'm fine being in like the antechamber or the main sort of first room.
Yeah, I can still do what I could do as a last ditch if I need to. It'll work best the fewer exits there are. If we can go out one way and there's no convenient way to follow us, that would be ideal. So, yeah, my vote would be probably the main hall. It's big,
And
it's open, it should be hard for anything to sneak on us.
I can put up a spell to alert us if anything comes through a door or comes within 20 feet of us.
What, alarm?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be huge. Yeah. Fuck yeah, let's do that then.
If the room has more than one entrance, it might not be super useful, but they can still do a 20-foot square cube.
I mean, if it has multiple entrances, we just gotta pick the one we want to go out of and block all the other ones.
Touche.
Which, for that room, there were 3 doors. One of them is the exit.
Do we need... Does anyone need water?
Please.
This is... Bear with me. Let's grab some of that water that either almost blinded Ron or may have been filled with not great amoebas. I can purify it through a ritual. I have ritual spells I can cast. It'll take a minute, but I can purify water as long as we can find it. I feel like Yvardsaga has a vague idea of the limits of purify.
Yeah.
That room.
So it might not taste good, but it should be safe.
All right, but I
Yeah.
ain't fucking drinking it first.
It's free of
Oh.
poison and disease, okay? That's all I can say.
Cole shrug. I'll drink it.
Look at Courageous
Yeah,
Cole
if we
here.
like get pots or water skins full of dirty water, Yejiye will also purify that for everyone. I don't think there's any food down here, even if purified, we would want to eat.
Probably not.
It's only been a few days. We should all still
Not
have
unless you
rations
want to eat the
left.
mummies.
Yeah,
I was
Ron.
gonna say, you gonna eat that mummy?
Ancient jerky.
Ugh.
I do say, Virginia, this mummy is delectable today.
Oh my goodness.
To be fair, there are mushrooms around. You haven't messed with any of them to see if any of them would be safe to eat.
That's true. I could at least make them poison free. I just can't
There's
guarantee they'll
old
be
ass honey, and honey is antibacterial.
True.
It's true.
But yes, you guys are recalling all very good points. You will be able to maybe not get a ton of like portable supplies to take with you for the journey back. You could probably figure out a few things. But like for staying the night here with the plans you have outlined, yeah, you'll be fine for food and water. Provided that water doesn't have something else to it.
But it's free of disease and poison. That's all I can guarantee. I've moved myself to the antechamber.
Okay.
I've fled. And Yejiye will also be remaking her second bag of holding that someone broke.
I feel like we're naming names when we don't need to.
I didn't hear no
Hey,
name.
Cole.
Hmm?
Where am I?
Sorry, you have all been fast traveled over
To the altar.
Yeah, to the main ceremony hall, since it sounded like that's where you were thinking of holding up.
Now I'm one room further,
Oh yeah, you are, aren't you?
hiding in a corner.
Oh.
It feels weird to sleep inside like a chapel filled with pink light and a big old death god statue.
I mean,
Just don't look at him. Don't make eye contact.
there's one person.
Sanctuary!
There's one person in there that's been asleep for a really, really long time, and they seem like they're
I don't want to
sleeping
disturb
fine.
their nap. I'm not going to disturb their nap with my snoring.
Fair.
And if anything, the death god will not confuse you with one who is dead. He knows the difference.
Who knows what death does to a god's understanding? He might think their death rattles and come calling. He says it as an absolute joke, not realizing this is probably not the time or the place to make that kind of a joke.
Super
Yeah,
morbid.
Nemo's just like makes a slow turn too. Like, can you not?
And he just like shakes his head and shrugs like, what'd I say? He doesn't say that, but you get the gist. He is not entirely aware of the fact that that was an off-color joke. Remember, before moving to Darbiton, Ron was a sailor.
Mm.
So his sense of what is or is not tactful in morbid situations like this may not be the same as everyone else's. But yes, Pez.
I have a spell slot left. I was just going to heal someone. I was debating on whether I'm healing Ron or Cole. I've healed Cole once already today.
I was gonna say, I feel like you have your own answer to that.
Because percentage-wise, I think Cole is hurt more, but I'm pretty sure hit point-wise, Ron is hurt more.
Yes.
So I was just gauging which I wanted to.
Oh.
And Ron's usually more likely to be up front, so.
Nemo just had a mild heart attack for half a second. I saw that.
Yep.
I'm gonna give Ron a big old pat on the shoulder and cast some Cure Wounds before I take my long rest.
Okay. Pats him on the shoulder, crushing an egg in palm.
You're gonna be okay.
There.
He gets 8.
Excellent.
Not the best, but not bad.
3.6 round, can you say? not great, not terrible.
Excellent.
I'm going to assume we're more afraid of things coming in the front door
Yeah.
than the back door.
Yeah.
So we could do a little cube like that. Or I could just put it across the front door. I figure
Yeah.
if we sleep in the cube, then we kind of have our bases. Sleep on a mushroom pillow.
Find out it is also mercurial in nature.
Hey, if the hatters of, Victorian era could do it, I can too.
Fair enough. Touche.
I'm the Mad Egger?
Hey, Cole.
That sounds like it should be an extremely offensive term.
It does.
Yeah. But I believe that between Nemo and Cole, we want to try and see if we can identify a few of these attunable items.
Yeah. It takes an hour to attune to an item in like downtime or rest time. And if you are wanting to get your full proper benefits of the 8-hour period of a long rest, you have 2 hours awake.
So we get two attempts.
You can attune to 2 things.
Okay. And just reading back through my shit, because we got a handful of items. Just me. I have the gloves. There were the spectacles. I think we got those. We had the metal sphere, but we figured that one out. That is the drift globe.
Yep.
Then we have things from the reliquary. The prosthetic hand has some kind of enchantment. There was a bone statue of a horned creature that was warm to the touch. Oh, we'll come back to that thought. Then there was a black onyx mastiff that's attunable. And then there was the spell book that was also able to be used as a spellcasting focus.
Yes. Yeah. Any of the spell books can be. That's really the main reason to attune to them. Because in theory, you don't have to be attuned to access the magic on the pages of the spell books. You just have to spend the time studying and decoding what's on the pages.
Gotcha. And then Nemo, what items did you have?
I guess the tunable one would be the carved ruby, and I don't think she took the glasses back, so those are gone. And then she just has potion bottles and the ointment.
You dipped the glasses in the blood.
Yep.
Yeah, but you didn't bring them back?
Well, why would I? They're covered in blood now.
But Nemo knows they're magical.
Do you want the glasses?
Please.
Okay. Oh, by the way, how much do you pay for your smokes?
you can give accurate pricing of a nondescript number that has not been calculated before.
Thank you.
Because I also do not know. I have not actually figured out what tobacco products cost in Evard.
2 bits. Same price as shaving a haircut.
Thank you. I thought it.
Cool. Can I bum one off of you?
Uh, Cole's not familiar with that turn of phrase, but he figures it out. So, in his person, he will open up a bag, and he has a little kind of container he will take a lock off of, open it up, and then withdraw 2, for lack of a better term, cigarellos. So this would be tobacco that was then rolled inside like a larger leaf. And he'll offer one to Nemo, and he'll light up one for himself as well. Take a long, smooth drag. Yeah, this is more deserved.
Huh.
Then he'll put that all back, lock it back up, put it all back.
Does someone want to go with me to go get the glasses?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're able to go retrieve them without incident.
All right. While they're doing that, she's also will try to like convince him to go back into that porter room, and then she'll make a little offering spread with like some food ration, and then she'll leave the cigarello there.
Okay.
And then on their way out, she's going to close all the doors and trying to make everything look like they didn't wander in there.
Good call.
Good call. Yeah, no, you can absolutely do all that. It's not a hard sell for Ron. He's here to just be security. So if that's where you want to go, and you want protection, he'll go.
Fantastic. See, Rod, this is why I like you so much. You ask the least amount of questions.
Yeah, half the time I don't understand what questions I should be asking, and the other half I understand, and I just realize it's better for my health not
Attaboy.
to.
You're very wise indeed, Rod.
Oh no,
Um,
And then they come.
I'm a fucking idiot, but I had a few people beat some fair lessons into me when I was young and impressionable.
And she does one of those like awkward like nods, like
Figuratively. They didn't actually beat me.
oh, okay.
It just took a few hard instances of having it reinforced a few times. It's all good. I'm still kicking. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That and he goes to grab where by now you guys know he had kept his fancy flask, and then he realizes it's empty, and he just oh right, because he gave it to
Yeah.
the goblins.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you
I
guys
feel
get
sorry
back,
for your loss.
when you guys get back, Cole is snatching those glasses. Nemo
Rude.
cannot be trusted with things.
No. She's gonna smack him.
Give him the spray
that a-
bottle
All
treatment.
right, Cole, make a sleight of hand. Unless you're not trying to be sneaky about it, are you trying to just be brazen but fast?
No, he's gonna just kind of go over and put his hand out for the glasses, and just kind of look at her flatly.
Fine. She's technically theirs to begin with, but okay.
Thank you. So, which ones would you like to try attuning to? Yeah, did the
Can
glasses?
you attune?
Me? Sorry, I
Yes.
was petting a dog, but
Oh,
Why were
um,
you just petting its butt?
because that's all she's giving me. But AGA nods as long as I meet the requirements. Because she does know that.
Okay. Do the glasses require attunement?
They do.
yes.
Okay. So, just kind of looking through his things. Cole's gonna grab the black mastiff and set that out. Someone should try this one.
Puppy.
Um, and then, he's gonna grab the gloves. I'll try this one. He's going to then. That's one. And that's two. Then we had prosthetic hand that he'll pass to Yejier, and the glasses for see if she can attune to both of those.
Or why not? I'll try.
And then is it just the black spell book that is attunable, or is the tongue one attunable as well?
All of them are. Yeah.
All right, he's gonna attune to the tongue book because he's got questions.
Okay. Anything else that y'all would like to search out, prep, do before you take your rest?
I don't think so.
No. Nemo will try attuning to the ruby first.
Okay. So let me get this typed up in here. Nemo is attuning to the ruby. Anything in particular after that you want to attune, Nemo?
Nemo's gonna creep up and take the dog. I like dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like scrambles back.
Okay, Cole. It was gloves first? Or gloves second?
Just hold on a second.
Okay.
Oh, are you finishing typing something
Nope.
first?
Nope. I'm done. I'm just
Okay.
typing up the order of items people are gonna attune to.
Oh, okay. I'll do the spellbook first, actually.
Okay, which one?
That one will be the tongued book.
The tongued book. Okay.
And uh, I'm hold on one second. I'm thinking something through.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
I know. As like Cole's divvying things up, after fiddling with the prosthetic hand, he's actually gonna kind of look at it and like hold that back, and he's gonna toss a Yevardsaga the gloves instead, and then he'll try and attune to the prosthetic hand.
Okay. A Yejier? Any particular order to attuned items, or if you just want to not attune, that is also okay.
I think I want to do the glasses first, because I think the idea of a Yejier wearing normal-sized glasses is very funny to me.
Those look
Especially, like,
those
imagine
teeny
her
tiny
working on an egg. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I just realized you got handed human-sized glasses and human-sized gloves.
Is she the
Really?
gloves, or were they a prosthetic?
I swapped. I took the prosthetic and gave you
Okay.
the gloves. It's like, really, those should have both been done by Nemo, and Nemo given you the big objects that don't matter for size. But whatever.
And even like holds the little dog statuette closer to her, like no.
Okay. Fair enough. We have our marching order for attuning items. Are y'all wanting to do that first? Do you want to try and sleep first and then do that after?
Attunement first, if that's all right.
Okay.
I gotta flip for something.
I was going to attune the glasses tonight and attune the glove in the morning. Using those terms lightly, because who knows what time it is.
Yeah.
Cole will do both of them before he falls asleep.
Okay.
Nemo will attune to the Rudy and then say the dog statue for another day.
Okay.
She will instead work on her little terrarium.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool. I will after the session after we're done with the session, or I guess before we play next time, I will send you guys what you learn about the items you attune to. That way you have the option, if you so desire, of using what you learn as generously or privately as you deem appropriate. So that's up to you guys if you want to share what you learn about those items or not. But yeah, any other last minute things before you guys take your long rest? And after that, I was probably going to call it for the night.
I'll make an egg, but that's nothing new.
Fair. Yeah.
Sunny side up or scrambled?
In such a way that the egg I gave you is just going to be a useless decorative egg by tomorrow morning.
Well, were you making the egg, or did you have to fix your bag? Because I guess did that take an hour as well to do?
That's a good point.
Egg takes... Egg doesn't take time? I'm writing.
I think it might not have a set time that it takes because it's
No, it's just once per long rest, but it's just like a touch instantaneous.
okay. Yeah, mechanically it does not need to take time, but the flavor text implies time.
And then does your
Yeah.
bag repair take time? Is that affects if you can attune both things or just the one?
That's this one.
Yeah, that one I definitely don't remember.
I don't think it does.
So I know I can only do 2 during a long rest.
Yeah, and I don't think that has a time. If it's what I think it is.
I want to say mechanically it probably doesn't. I don't remember ever seeing one.
Mechanically, I do not see one.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's not standard mundane repair
Yeah.
necessarily.
It's whenever you finish a long rest, you can do it.
Okay. It's just part of your morning routine. You know, wake up,
Pretty much touch a thing.
brush your hair, stitch a bag, eat and or paint some eggs. Yeah. Every Anything else before we call for our long rest to officially start?
Me. As in no.
Okay.
Oh, I finally got a different egg.
Okay. That list I sent into chat was what I typed from our discussions. I think I got it right. In that case, you guys are able to settle in. You have that thin, silvery cord that Ayejiye has set up in that square around you that shimmers with a soft, comforting glow throughout the night, in that it indicates a very reliable form of safety in an otherwise very uncertain and or unsettling environment when you are unfortunately required biologically to be vulnerable and unconscious.
Hooray!
So you're able to get some decently fair sleep during your long rest. However, Ayejiye, I need you to make a Constitution save.
I don't like that though. Have you considered?
No.
Hmm. That's okay.
Sounds rude, but okay.
Okay.
She's fine. She's fine.
Thank you for that. I clicked out of everything I was not supposed to click out of. Bum. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so you guys have your long rest. You will wake up with all of your health restored, all of your spell slots, and finite use class or species abilities restored. And you'll be able to depart immediately to start your return journey if you would like. You would also have time to think about it between sessions if there's anything else you want to revisit before you leave. I will double check with you before we progress at the start of next session, and we'll call it good there for tonight then, I think. Good job, everybody. I would, except for the fact that I'm pretty sure all of you, well, I guess not. I guess I know Nemo used inspiration,
I
and
did.
since then, you all were awesomely creative and also very character minded and motivated. So if you don't have inspiration, please take it. All three of
need to
you should start with inspiration at the next session, because there's a lot of good stuff that happened tonight. Was it the showiest? No, but it was really, really fun to watch me see you guys process what you found or what you didn't find, and try and come up with some ways to still progress in the ways you wanted. So, very, very good. I had a lot of fun. Thanks for playing tonight, everybody.
Thanks, Elf.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Wolf.
Yeah, have a good night. So far
Good
as I
Bye,
know,
Bye,
same
chat.
time, normal time, normal place next week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, now, if I can just remember how to work OBS to get me back to the right place. Okie doke, there we are. Hello again. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We went a little longer than we normally do, but it's a Friday night, and we haven't been meeting as regularly lately, so we wanted to sneak in a little bit extra time. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. I know I certainly did. I had a lot of fun, and I am really, really, really excited for what lies ahead of our adventures, both in the short and long term. Uh, they have made it through their dungeon crawl, at least this main part of it. Who knows what lies ahead? I do. I know. You guys don't, but we'll find out next time. Plan right now is our same time, same place as regular, which is going to be Wednesday, whatever that next Wednesday in April is, I don't know. But Wednesday of this next week at 7 p.m. Central Time, right here, and we'll get right back to it and see what other exciting adventures they can find under the surface of the world. Until then, take care and stay tuned. There will be more to follow.